तब सरकार ने क्यों नहीं सोचा? आज की क्यों बात कर रहे हैं? आज तो सब ये कह सकते आज ये नहीं हुआ।
जब आपके हाथ में मौका था, आप चाहते तो उसको बचा सकते।
पूरी दुनिया, पूरी सरकार, पूरे मंत्री देख रहे हैं कितना फ्लड आ रहा है महाराष्ट्र में, नासिक में, कि प्याज नहीं होगा और खपत उतनी ही रहेगी बल्कि बढ़ जाएगी।
समझ में आ रहा है प्याज का खेल आपको?
मंत्री का पहली बात तो ये जो बयान है बहुत ही गैर जिम्मेदाराना बयान है। और देश की जनता सब देख रही है।
बीजेपी के सांसद उन्होंने लाइट में कह दिया, इसमें कौन सी
बिल्कुल बहुत शर्मनाक और निंदनीय बयान है। हम उस देश में रहते हैं जहां आज भी प्याज रोटी खा के लोग गुजारा करते हैं, आप जानते होंगे। और जिनको रोटी और प्याज नहीं मिलेगी, फिर इसका मतलब कि वो संतोषी जैसी चावल के बिना आत्महत्या कर लेगा।
मैं ये हिसाब लेना चाहता हूँ कि उसी टाइम प्लान क्यों नहीं किया गया? क्या मंत्री जी को नजर नहीं आ रहा था?
ये बड़ा सवाल है कि आपने उस
The reason for this year's crisis is that the last year the prices were very low. In December 2018, for example, in some mandis in Maharashtra, the prices were as low as 2 to 3 rupees a kilogram, and farmers were in real trouble. As a result of that, in several, the government of Maharashtra decided to give an ad hoc grant to farmers of 2 rupees a kilogram. So, as a result of this, the area under onion came down, which is reflected in the current stress on prices. And secondly, earlier the lack of rainfall in June and July, and then excessive rainfall in parts of Maharashtra and Madhya Pradesh have also affected the crop size.
So, there are twofold measures that the government is taking, and its priority, it seems to be, to keep inflation low, which means keep prices of food crops at its lowest possible, which is really unhealthy for the farmers and very damaging to the farmers in the long run, considering already the economy is going through a slump and the rural economy is feeling the worst pinch of it. On top of it, the government this particular time has also put a ban on export of onions at a certain price and above, which again is going to hit farmers. There is no long-term solution that the government's looked at, and it's not just this government but previous governments to blame as well. They normally end up cross-subsidizing the customers at the urban end to make sure that they don't feel the price pinch. But it's not as if cold chains have been developed and a good system has been developed to look at the supply chain right down from the farms to the cities and make sure that in periods where onions not available in the supply that's needed, that they can pull it out of the cold storage system. So I don't think at the moment the government's done anything which is long term. Even its short term takes at the moment seem to be perfunctory and not really effective.
I think the most important thing is to help some technical institutions like IITs, etc., in developing suitable cold chain technology which can reduce the losses. Presently, it is only the rabi onion which is stored. This is harvested in March and April, and it meets the requirement of the country for next 6 months till the new kharif crop comes. So it is the storage technology is obsolete, and in heavy monsoon months the losses can be as high as 20 to 30%. So there is a need to develop suitable technology which can reduce the losses. Yes, I think lastly the measures taken by the government are temporary in nature, and as soon as the prices come down, and I think they will come down when the floods subside, when the transportation resumes and onion from other districts of the country starts coming into the market, the prices will go down, and then I think slowly the government will have to remove the restrictions. In fact, there is some kind of agitation of farmers in Maharashtra against the measures taken by the government, which have resulted in the prices going down.
So, if you look at the data, I don't think the current crisis emerges out of climate change. We've seen a cycle where every 2 years on average the prices of the onion crop does rise because of a little fall in production. At times this crisis becomes more exacerbated, and we see over every 4 years roughly the prices spike more than normal. Studies by experts suggest that this is not particularly to do with climate change, but actually to do with bad marketing practices, malfeasance, as well as traders and others getting into the business and making a high buck when September is a point where there is low availability of onion in general. Climate change does impact different crops differently, whether it's vegetables, fruits or staple crops. The impacts are studied in some cases like wheat and rice, where there is evidence now available of how it's hitting productivity of these two staples. There is sporadic evidence available that the uncertainty around the weather does cause changes in the production of different wheats, different vegetables and fruit as well. How this interplays in prices is a mix of both how climate change impacts and to how the markets react to it and how the government intervenes. We know our markets largely run through mandis for most vegetables and fruits as well as staples is really managed by a bunch of aartis at each place, and the government has very little control. A lot of the spikes in prices happen because of arbitrage earned by these aartis and middlemen all the way. Therefore, to disaggregate and say what part is because of climate change and what part is because of bad market practices is very difficult in most cases. But yes, the impact of climate change is playing in the sense that whenever there is now a downfall in production, it is giving a bad market a chance to get a greater premium. It's not as if the farmer is getting that money, but mostly it's the middlemen who make money out of scarcity. If you see, in August, the UN IPCC, which is the largest collective panel of scientists across the world, brought a report out talking about land and impact of climate change on land. They clearly mentioned that not just in India but across the globe, climate change will play a critical role in spiking prices, in making food expensive or causing upheaval in the supply chains in a fashion that's not been seen before. This would happen in India as well. It would be worse for some parts of India and some supply chains in particular because they are mismanaged in the first place. What climate change will end up doing is exacerbating the already bad market systems that we have in place for supplies of both crops, foods, vegetables and fruits. The challenge for the government is that should it intervene in more and more crops? Should it increase or enhance the government's role in procurement, sale, managing prices, or can it create an efficient market for a lot of these things to be sold properly and for farmers to get remunerative prices? The fact is, government's own budgets and resources are restricted to get into each and every crop and start buying. At the same time, because markets are not efficiently developed for farmers to get remunerative prices, they do ad hoc systems, step in, force farmers or incentivize farmers to grow certain things which again fall of the markets for which crash in a few years, giving farmers another round of shock. I think the government first needs to set its house in order just to manage existing perturbance in the markets, and then think in the next 5 to 10 years cycle also of saying when climate change does exacerbate these challenges, what would it do? But I think we are far away from it as of now.